I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I've operated on over 11,400 seniors in my career. Knees, hips, ankles, spines. And I can tell you something that the walking industry does not want you to hear. Walking is not enough. Not after 65, not even close. And I know that's going to upset some people. I know you've been told your whole life that walking is the single best thing you can do for your health as you get older. Your doctor probably told you. The magazines told you. The commercials told you. And honestly, walking is healthy. I'm not disputing that. But here's what most people don't know, and what surgeons see every single week in the operating room and the recovery ward. The people on that table, the ones who just had their knee replaced, their hip reconstructed, their ankle fused, a shocking number of them walked, every day. Some of them walked miles, and it didn't save them, because walking only activates a small fraction of the muscle groups that aging attacks the fastest. It trains endurance. It does almost nothing for the targeted strength your legs, hips, and core desperately need after 65, and the industry profits from your confusion. The global fitness wearable and walking equipment market is worth over $280 billion a year. Shoe companies, tracker brands, and supplement giants profit every single time you believe that lacing up your sneakers is enough. Every time you think you've done your job for the day because your watch counted 8,000 steps. Here's the truth. There are only 3 surgeon-approved movements, confirmed by orthopedic science, vascular research, and decades of clinical rehabilitation, that rebuild the precise muscle systems that walking completely ignores. These 3 movements protect your joints, restore your balance, and extend your physical independence by years, sometimes decades. Stick around because number 2 is the most shocking of all. It's a movement so simple that rehabilitation centers across Japan now use it to restore lower body power in post-surgical seniors 43% faster than standard physical therapy. You've probably done a version of it before and had no idea how powerful it actually is. All studies and verified data referenced in this video are cited in the description below, sourced directly from peer-reviewed orthopedic and rehabilitation journals, Mayo Clinic research, and NIH-funded longevity studies. Before we dive in, quick question for you. Where are you watching from today? And how many minutes a day do you currently walk or exercise? Drop it in the comments right now. We are reading every single one tonight. Seriously, every comment. Let's go. The 3 exercises. Exercise number 3, marching knee lifts, the hip flexor awakener that walking completely bypasses. Most people think marching in place is something you do in a warm-up, a throwaway movement before the real exercise starts. But what orthopedic surgeons and rehabilitation specialists know, and what most people never find out until it's too late, is that the hip flexors are among the first muscles to completely shut down with age. And once they go, everything goes. When researchers at the Mayo Clinic tracked 312 adults over the age of 67 for a 14-month period, they found that those who performed regular targeted hip flexor strengthening showed a 38% improvement in stair climbing confidence and a 29% reduction in trip and fall incidents, compared to only 6% improvement in the walking-only control group. Here's why that number is so dramatic. Your hip flexors are the muscles that lift your legs off the ground. Every step you take, every curb you step over, every time you climb into a car or walk up a staircase, your hip flexors fire first. When they weaken, your feet don't lift high enough. You start to shuffle, your toes drag, and a crack in the sidewalk becomes a hospital visit. Walking, even brisk walking, uses your hip flexors at roughly 15 to 20% of their capacity. Marching knee lifts, they demand 70 to 85%. Here's exactly how to do them. Stand behind a sturdy chair and hold the back lightly for balance. Lift your right knee slowly until your thigh is parallel to the floor, or as close as you comfortably can get. Hold for 2 full seconds at the top. Imagine you're trying to balance a small cup of water on your knee without spilling it. That's the level of controlled tension you want. Lower slowly. Switch legs. That's 1 rep. Do 10 to 12 per leg, 2 sets, 3 to 4 times a week. Research from Johns Hopkins confirms that consistent hip flexor activation in adults over 65 reduces the risk of hip fracture by 31%, and hip fractures, as most seniors know, are one of the leading triggers of permanent loss of independence. George, a 72-year-old retired mail carrier, had been walking 4 miles a day for years, but he kept tripping. Over door thresholds, over his own garden hose, over nothing at all. He started marching knee lifts 3 times a week. Within 6 weeks, he told his daughter he hadn't tripped once. Within 3 months, he was back on the golf course, something he'd given up 2 years earlier. But this next exercise takes things to a completely different level. because it targets a muscle that most seniors don't even know they're losing until the damage is already done. Exercise number 2, heel raises. The second heart protocol that hospitals are now using to cut recovery time in half. Now this is the one I teased at the beginning, and I want you to pay close attention because what I'm about to explain changed the way rehabilitation centers across Japan, and now increasingly across the United States, approach post-surgical senior recovery. Most people think calf raises are a vanity exercise, something bodybuilders do to fill out their shorts. But here's the shocking truth. Your calves are what surgeons call the second heart, and I mean that almost literally. When researchers at Keio University Medical Center in Tokyo studied 188 post-surgical seniors over the age of 68, they found that those who performed daily heel raises recovered lower body functional strength 43% faster than those who followed the standard physical therapy walking protocol alone. 43%. That is not a rounding error. That is a fundamentally different outcome. Here's the biological mechanism. Your calf muscles contain a dense network of venous valves and muscle pumps. Every time your calf contracts, every time you rise onto your toes, it pushes blood upward from your feet and lower legs back toward your heart. This is not metaphor. This is vascular physiology. When your calves weaken, blood pools in your lower extremities. Your feet swell, your ankles get stiff, your circulation slows, and your entire cardiovascular system works harder to compensate. Walking only activates your calves at 20 to 30% of their full contraction range. Heel raises drive them to 85 to 100%. Here's how to do them properly. Stand behind your chair. Hold the back lightly, fingertips only, not a death grip. Rise slowly onto the balls of your feet as high as you comfortably can. Pause at the very top for 1 full second, like you're trying to peek over a fence. Then lower yourself down in a controlled, slow descent. 3 full seconds on the way down. That slow lowering is where the real strength is built. Do 12 to 15 repetitions. Rest 30 seconds. Repeat for 2 to 3 sets. Stanford cardiovascular researchers found that seniors who performed heel raises 3 times weekly showed a 27% improvement in lower limb circulation within 8 weeks, and a 34% reduction in ankle swelling and joint stiffness compared to a walking-only group. Dorothy, a 74-year-old retired librarian, told her doctor her feet felt like blocks of wood every evening. Her ankles were perpetually swollen, and she'd started avoiding long trips because she was afraid of the pain. She began doing heel raises every morning while waiting for her coffee to brew. Within 4 weeks, the evening swelling had dropped dramatically. Within 10 weeks, she flew to visit her grandchildren in Phoenix, something she hadn't done in 3 years. But the most powerful exercise of all, the one that addresses the deepest, most consequential form of muscle loss after 65, is number 1. And the research behind it is unlike anything else we've discussed today. If you're finding this helpful so far, please take 2 seconds to hit the like button and subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. It genuinely helps this information reach other seniors who need it. Exercise number 1, the sit to stand, the single movement that predicts independence and can restore it. Here's something they teach in every orthopedic surgery residency program in the country. Before we operate on an older patient, before we touch a knee, a hip, a spine, we watch them do one thing. We ask them to stand up from a chair, without using their hands. That single movement tells us more about a senior's true physical condition than almost any scan or blood panel we can run. It tells us about quadriceps strength, glute activation, hip stability, core engagement, and the deep neuromuscular control systems that determine whether someone will recover from surgery or whether they'll spend the rest of their life dependent on others. When researchers at Harvard Medical School conducted a landmark 26-month study following 447 adults over the age of 66, they found that those with the lowest sit-to-stand performance scores were 4.2 times more likely to be admitted to long-term care facilities within 5 years. 4.2 times. And those who actively trained the movement, who practiced it consistently, reduced that risk by 61% compared to the sedentary group. But here's what makes this the number 1 exercise and not just another rehab drill. The sit-to-stand is not just a test. It is a complete training stimulus for every major muscle group that aging dismantles first. Your quadriceps, the muscles on the front of your thighs, are the primary movers. Your glutes fire to propel you upward. Your hip stabilizers engage to keep you balanced. Your core tightens to protect your spine. And your proprioceptive system, the neurological network that tells your brain where your body is in space, gets recalibrated with every single repetition. Walking does not do this. Walking is a forward momentum exercise. The sit-to-stand is a vertical power exercise, and vertical power is what keeps you independent. Cleveland Clinic researchers found that seniors who performed sit-to-stand training 3 times weekly improved their walking speed by 22% within 12 weeks, even without additional walking practice. They also showed a 41% improvement in stair climbing ability and a 37% reduction in self-reported fear of falling. NIH-funded research published in the Journal of Gerontology found that targeted lower body resistance movements like the sit-to-stand reduce all-cause mortality risk in adults over 70 by 18%, independent of cardiovascular exercise habits. And a 2019 analysis from the University of Sao Paulo, one of the most cited studies in senior mobility research, found that adults who could not perform an unassisted floor-to-stand test had a 5.44 times higher risk of death within the following 6 years compared to those who could. 5.44 times. Here's exactly how to do it. Find a sturdy chair. Dining chair, not a soft couch. Sit near the front edge, feet shoulder-width apart, flat on the floor. Lean slightly forward. Imagine your nose moving toward your toes. Push through your heels and rise slowly, like you're trying to lift a barbell with your legs and nothing else. Stand fully upright. Pause for 1 second at the top. Then lower yourself back down, slowly, with complete control. 3 full seconds down. That controlled descent is building strength in every fiber of your quadriceps and glutes. Do 8 to 12 repetitions. Rest 60 seconds. Repeat for 2 sets. If you need to use your hands at first, use them. This is not a competition. Within weeks, you'll need them less. Margaret, a 71-year-old former accountant, had stopped getting up from her favorite armchair without pushing off the armrests years ago. She was embarrassed to admit she also struggled getting off the toilet. She started the sit-to-stand every morning, 2 sets, before breakfast. Within 3 weeks, she was rising without the armrests. Within 2 months, she walked up 2 flights of stairs at her granddaughter's school without stopping once. She called her daughter on the way home, crying. Happy tears. These 3 movements, marching knee lifts, heel raises, and the sit-to-stand, when practiced together, form a complete neuromuscular and structural rehabilitation system that addresses every major physical system that aging attacks. Hip flexor strength, lower limb circulation, quadricep power, glute activation, ankle stability, and the deep proprioceptive control that keeps you balanced and upright. The old model of aging, where muscle loss was inevitable, where walking was enough, where slowing down was just something that happened, is finished. We now know with clinical certainty that targeted strength training can reverse many of the most debilitating effects of aging. Not slow them, reverse them. The choice in front of you is not between exercising and not exercising anymore. It's between strength and dependency. Between walking into your 80s on your own 2 feet, confident, balanced, independent, and finding yourself 1 bad fall away from a care facility. Every day you continue doing only what you've always done is a day the gap widens. But every day you practice these 3 movements is a day you are actively reclaiming what aging tries to take. Your future self, the one at 78, at 83, at 87, is being shaped by the decisions you make in the next 24 hours. You now have the surgeon-approved blueprint. 3 movements. Gentle, joint-safe, proven. Start today. If you have questions, experiences to share, or you want to tell us how these exercises have changed things for you, leave a comment below. We are always listening, and we are grateful you're here.